Alright, let's move on to the exciting stuff, character creation. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to set up your character. Here's the thing, if you don't follow the instructions and you don't set them up right, it's probably not going to work the way it should when you get into your animation, and you're going to be just all kinds of screwed up. And I'm really not going to be happy about answering questions for people who don't watch the videos. So pay attention to everything that we do here, okay? Alright, I want to talk to you about character proportions. Now, because I start all of my projects the same way, I go into File, Project Settings, and make sure I have HD TV 1080p selected. That gives me a high-def widescreen. Now, my camera size is going to remain the same no matter what. So if I were to use my middle mouse wheel to scroll out, it doesn't matter that this blue square or rectangle changed size, because I didn't actually go to the camera tools and change it. As long as I don't change it, I leave it the default, I can scroll in and out, it doesn't matter. But what I like to do is use this camera box as a way to gauge my character size. So what I imagine is that from top to bottom is 6 foot. That way when I build an adult male character who should be about 6 foot tall, his head should be up here and his feet should be down here. Then what I do is I change the width, my stroke width, to 2. And 2 is a very normal looking stroke width. It's a good outline. It doesn't look too intrusive, too cartoony. If you are used to watching cartoons, you'll notice that like The Simpsons has a little bit thicker outline than some of the cartoons that look more realistic. So it just depends on what you like. I like a 2, and by keeping all of my animations the same with a 2, I can take any content that I've already created for one cartoon series and I can use it in another cartoon series, and it doesn't look out of place or anything. The other way that I can gauge my character creation, okay, besides this camera box, is to come up here to View and Enable Grid. Now under Grid Settings, in a high-def TV, the HD TV 1080p setting, if your grid spacing is 180, then you'll have 6 of these little squares from top to bottom. So you know each square represents 1 foot if your character is 6 foot tall in here. Okay? Alright, now on to creating our character. The first thing we're going to do is create a switch layer. This is going to be for a simple character, something kind of on the lines of South Park. We're using a switch layer because the character is going to be real basic. We'll have a front view, a side view, and a rear view. And what you want is to be able to switch between the front, side, and the rear. So we start with the switch layer, and we'll call this character. That way you know, uppermost layer. Now we'll click layer 1, the vector layer, and put it inside the character. And this is going to become our face. Alright, well the first thing we need is a head or a face that has a couple of holes in it for the eyes. So if you remember back to that video, we can create that with, we can do this shape tool. We would leave on auto stroke and turn off auto fill. We don't want it to fill yet. And then hit the shift when you actually drag to make your circle round. And then we'll we will actually do the same thing to create an eye. And we want the eyes to be the same size, so we will highlight that and then come up to Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste, and now we'll use our Translate Points tool to move our new circle over. And I'm just going to try and center this. We want to keep both of these eyes centered on the head, so that looks pretty good. Now we can turn this into a shape. So use our Create Shape tool, highlight the whole thing, and let's actually select a skin color. When I'm doing choosing my colors, I just like to come down to basic colors, and then here's a good skin color. Now there's 2 ways to do this. I'm going to show you one way for the debut users and another way for pro users. If I hit space, I've just created the face with the 2 holes. I'll render it real quick so you can see what it would look like. There you go. Alright, the other way to do it, let me Control Z and get rid of that. The other way to do it is come up here to Styles if you're a pro user, and this is, trust me, this is the way you have to do it. You're going to want to do it no matter what. Hit New, and then type in a name. We'll call this Skin. Hit Enter. Alright, now all these check marks should come on. You've got width of 2, your skin color you want to choose, and then just hit spacebar. Alright, now what you've done is you've painted the face with a skin color. If you come up to Styles, you'll see you have skin in there. Now the reason we did this is because you're going to create a huge character, right? You're going to have multiple switch layers for your different hands. You may have feet. You may have all sorts of skin parts. You may leave him without a shirt on or something, have his belly showing, I don't know. But when you're all done, you want to be able to change that color really fast in all those layers. You don't want to go back and repaint every single finger of every hand or however he's set up. This will allow us to come in here and change it just by using the slider, and I'll show you what I mean as we get a little bit further. Alright, I thought I should explain real quick. Over here with the Create Shape tool and the Paint Bucket tool, both of these tools will take the attributes of this new skin that we created if skin is down here selected in Style 1. So skin is selected. We can either create a shape with the skin attributes or we can paint a shape with the skin attributes. Okay, the other place you may see the skin that we created is up here under the drop down menu in Styles. If I select it here, it's going to open up in this window, and this is your editing window. This is where you would create a style or edit a style. So with it selected here, you'll notice that it disappeared from down here. With it selected up here, now we can edit it, and any changes that we make, let's say we make this dark, the instant I make those changes, it's going to be applied to anything we've already painted or created with the skin style. So I could pick from this menu down here, and it's just a real easy way to edit everything. But if you're going to try and create a shape with it, you don't want it up here. You want to make sure that you do none, and then make sure it's selected down here. Okay. Alright, our next step is we need some whites of the eyes back here. So let's create a new layer, new vector layer, and we'll just move these around a little bit. We want it to be under layer 1. We'll rename layer 1 face. Alright, and our new layer we want to be the whites of eyes. Alright. Alright, now before we get any further, let's go ahead and take care of something. Let's create a bone layer, and let's put, see the bone, oops, got to make sure the bone layer is in the character layer, and we're going to move the face into the bone layer and the whites of the eyes under the face. That way everything's going to show up. Alright, now click and highlight the whites of the eyes layer, and just come up here and create a simple square. We can turn off stroke and turn on autofill, and then make the color white, and then just put that right there. Oops. And if you're a pro user and following along, under Style 1 you have Skin. You want to actually select None, and you might want to go back and remake this. See, as long as something is highlighted here, that's the color you're going to create the thing in. So just make sure None is selected. If you're a debut user, you probably didn't have any problem with that. Alright, now above the whites of the eyes, you can have it highlighted. Just click to add a new switch layer. Now above the whites of the eyes, we'll name this layer Eyelids. And this is where, between your eyelids and your eyebrows, most of your expression is going to come from in your character. So we want to make sure that we take the time to give us as many options as we can here. But you can come down to whites of eyes, click Add a new vector layer, and then slide that vector layer up into the eyelids. And we'll rename this closed. And if you're a debut user, you're going to make sure you use the same colors you used for skin. If you're a pro user, just come on up and select under Style 1 Skin. And all we're going to do is create, we don't need, let's see, we're just going to create a, where we need this, no, we'll stroke on, and we'll leave the stroke color as black, and we'll leave the autofill on, and then just go ahead and make a square right there. So now we have closed eyes. Alright, this is where it gets a little bit easier. Make sure your closed eyes layer is highlighted, and then just come up here and click the little post-it note with the plus sign, and we're going to duplicate the layer. Alright, now we'll rename this closed, how about 4? We'll give it 4 different layers. Alright, now I want you to use the Select Points tool, select the bottom 2 points, hit the Translate Points tool. Now there's 2 ways that you can move these points. One is you can just click and drag up. That's perfectly fine. The other way is you can hit Control and your up arrow, and that will fine-tune it up. Or you can hit Control Shift and up arrow, and that'll move it a bigger chunk at a time. So let's say 4 closed is right about there. Alright, now duplicate closed 4 layer, and we'll rename this closed 3, and again move it up. You can hit Control Shift and the up key, and then duplicate it, name it closed 2, move that up a couple, duplicate it, closed 1, there. Now our upper eyelids are done for that. Alright, now we're going to repeat the process, but we're going to add a bottom closed. So go ahead and create, let's see, we'll duplicate the closed 1 layer. Now we'll actually click that, make sure all 4 points are highlighted, hit, edit, copy, edit, paste, and then move those down below, and we'll have bottom lids too. So you can close both at the same time. We'll put them close together and then rename this, how about Suspicious. If you put his pupils in here, it will have a suspicious look to it. Alright, and then we can duplicate that, and you can just go on and on from here and move them around, but make sure you also have the get rid of one of these and just move the bottom ones up, so you do like a bottom partly closed, and those will give them different expressions too. Go ahead and do that on your own, and I'm going to pause the tape and get all this done. Alright, I just finished the eyelids. I've got wink, bottom closed, 3, bottom closed 2, 1, suspicious, closed 1, 2, 3, 4, and then fully closed. And the other one to add, if you go to whatever your top level is and then just click another one, just to add another vector layer, rename it open, but don't actually put anything there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file, and I'll put it on the website under this video, and you'll be able to download it as, I think the name will be Character 1, so you can check it against yours and make sure you did everything right. Okay? Alright, let's create the hair. Now we're going to use the Add Points tool, but the one thing I want you to know is you cannot add a point to the outline that's already there, or you're going to warp the character. So Control Z to so we're going to create the hair without touching the existing outline in any way. Okay? So, real easy. Spacebar to weld the points. Alright, now there's two ways that we can actually fill this in. I'll show you for the Pro again and for the debut users. Alright, for Studio users, I want you to come up here to Styles, add a new one, and we'll call it Hair. Hit Enter. Alright, now you've got your fill on, your stroke. Oops, let's change the width to 2. I shut the program down and turned it back on, that's why it changed. So make sure it's at 2. And that should be good. And we'll select kind of an orange color for hair. Alright, now it'll be basically the same for debut and Pro users from this point forward. Almost. Pro users, go ahead and click None up here for styles. And then down here on Style 1, select the hairstyle that you just created. For debut users, go ahead and just pick your stroke color and your fill color right now. Pro users, again, don't worry that this is showing a color that's not yours. Your color is down here. The debut users, pick your color. Alright, now we're going to create a shape out of the hair that was just created. There's two ways to do this. We need select points to create a shape. So click the Create Shape, and if you actually just go over all of them, you're going to get the wrong shape. So we went over this before, but you can use Control to lasso the points that you want. Just hit Control while you left click the mouse and select the points. If it looks funny, it's because we actually have a few extra points highlighted in the head. So if you hit Shift and click those other points that you don't want, then you're going to get the hair. We can just hit Spacebar and we'll create the hair that we're looking for. Control Z. Now there's another way to do this. We can actually just translate all of these up off the head. Just move them out of the way. Then select them. Hit Spacebar to create shape. And then translate points and move them right back down. Alright, the next thing we need are some pupils. So click on the eyelids layer and add a vector layer. And that's going to go above the eyelids. Rename this Pupils. Alright, now come up to your circle. Circle, auto fill, auto stroke. Leave your stroke on black, and your fill will, make the eyes whatever color you want, maybe blue. For Pro users, go ahead and create a new style and call it Eyes. And then click None and make sure Eyes is selected down here. Alright, and then hit the Shift, drag, and then you can click, and instead of hitting Edit to copy and paste, you can also do a Control C and then a Control V, and that's your shortcut. And now you've got two really basic eyes. Alright, if you don't know how to save your character, just come on up to File and then Save or Save As, and then give it a name, and it will save as a .anime file. And later on you can just click File, Open, and you'll be able to select that file. I like to break mine down. I have a folder called Animation, and then inside that folder I've got backgrounds, scenes, characters, furniture, body parts, you name it. So just break it down however you can figure it out, but name this character or give them a name or something, and we'll pick back up later.